Hi friends, as I spoke to you in my earlier module, I was giving you a broad introduction of our constitution which I gave you. I would like to now speak on the political system in which we operate. As I told you that we have selected to be a democratic parliamentary form of government. What do we mean by a democratically elected parliamentary form of system is that we form we follow a parliamentary form of democratic government. Under a democratic government, there are two types of administrative systems. One is a parliamentary type of government. One is a presidential form of government. Presidential form of government is generally followed by the American systems, and the parliamentary form is generally followed by the United Kingdom system prevalent in the United. We adopted the parliamentary form of system because of its simpleness and easy to understand to the masses, a huge population which we have. It is an easier way to give more power to the last person in the line. I'll explain to you broadly what does it stand for. We have a parliament which has two houses, the upper house and the lower house. The lower house in the local language is mentioned as the Lok Sabha, or the House of People, and the upper house is known as the Rajya Sabha. Well, in some countries it is mentioned as a Senate as it is in the US, or House of Lords as it is in the UK. But Rajya Sabha is a different, it is not exactly as a House of Lords or not exactly as a Senate, because we have selected this form of government where Rajya Sabha doesn't have that much power as much as the Senate has it in the US, or it is not at all powerful in the UK as House of Lords, but nevertheless we have incorporated, as I told you in my last module, the concept of checks and balances. So it will always balance the power, thereby allowing the proper democratic values to be there, and the democratic system should not collapse, thereby creating the constitutional crisis. So, as I told you, we have two houses in our parliament, the first house being the Lok Sabha and the second house being the Rajya Sabha. I will go into the details of how the members are elected and how many members do have and what are the powers in the later modules. But as I broadly told you, there are two houses, one is the Lok Sabha and one is the Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha, members of the Lok Sabha are directly elected by the elections which are taking place, and the members of the Rajya Sabha are nominated and elected by through the states. That's an indirect election through the electoral college, but Lok Sabha members are directly elected, and the representatives of the people are present in the Lok Sabha, where all the matters are discussed, and it is a supreme powerful body. The parliamentary system is broadly divided into three parts. The first part being the legislature, which contains the parliament, the two houses. The second is the executive. Executive is the council of ministers headed by the prime minister. And the third is the judiciary. Judiciary is the judicial system of India, which is handled by the courts, the Supreme Court and the normal courts. So I will go into much more details in that form of that wing of our governance in a later part of our modules, in the later modules. Broadly, the legislature, what does the legislature do? The legislature legislates. It makes laws, and the executive, which is the council of ministers and headed by the prime minister, executes it. And the judiciary judicates if there is any disputes or anything which is not applicable and it is moved by the court, and if the court feels that this thing is being done, it can intervene, so it judicates. So the legislature legislates, the executive executes, and the judiciary judicates. These are the broad work of a parliamentary form of government, how the system works. I will go into much details in the later part of modules. Good speaking to you. Please, if you wish to, as I told you in my earlier modules, your